Welcome to Scary Production, your gateway to the most spine-chilling horror stories and unnerving tales. Dive into a world of darkness where every shadow hides a secret and every whisper tells a haunting story. From ghostly encounters to unsolved mysteries, we bring you the finest in horror content designed to keep you on the edge of your seat. Are you ready to face your fears? Subscribe now, and let the terror begin. The Suhagan Chudail is a story filled with fear and horror. It tells the tale of a woman whose wedding night turned into a terrifying ordeal. This story is not just a narrative but a chilling account that haunts the soul. The beginning of the story. In a village, there lived a beautiful and innocent girl named Mira. Mira was married to the prince of her dreams. On her wedding day, Mira wore a red bridal dress, adorned with jewelry, flowers, vermilion, and a Mangal Sutra, eagerly awaiting her wedding night with her beloved. But that night, something happened that no one could have imagined. Mira and her new husband, Ravi, arrived at an old mansion. This mansion belonged to Ravi's family but had long been abandoned, and people were afraid to go there. However, Mira and Ravi dismissed the stories as mere superstitions and laughed. Ravi said, "We will spend our first night here, and you'll see how beautiful this mansion really is." The mansion's secret. The mansion where Mira and Ravi arrived had a dark history that was known to many in the village. It was said that the ghost of a woman haunted the place, a woman who had taken her own life after being betrayed by her husband. People believed that the woman, dressed in her bridal attire, had waited for her husband until her last breath, and her soul became bound to the mansion, eternally seeking revenge. As soon as Mira and Ravi stepped into the mansion, a cold breeze began to blow. Mira felt as though someone was watching her, but Ravi laughed it off as a joke. "You're just scared, Mira. Let's enjoy our wedding night." The first sight of the Chudail. In the dark of the night, when everything was silent, a sudden scream echoed through the mansion. When Mira opened her eyes, she saw a woman standing before her, dressed in a red bridal dress. The woman's eyes were blood red, and her face was smeared with vermilion. Blood dripped from her lips, and her face was filled with pain and rage. Terrified, Mira tried to wake Ravi, but he didn't stir. The woman looked at Mira and said, "I was once a bride too, but my husband betrayed me. Just like you, I loved my husband, but he broke my trust. Your husband will leave you and run away with another woman." Mira closed her eyes in fear, but when she opened them again, the woman had vanished, and Ravi was sleeping peacefully beside her. Mira calmed herself, thinking it was just her imagination. But after that night, strange things began to happen every night. The haunting of the Chudail. Whenever Mira and Ravi were in the mansion, Mira would see the woman. She was always dressed in the red bridal attire, her face etched with eternal pain. She would speak to Mira, telling her about her pain and her husband's betrayal. Mira began to believe that this was not an ordinary ghost, but a Chudail, a vengeful spirit trapped by her own agony. Ravi never believed Mira's accounts, but Mira saw the terrifying Chudail every night. Her life became a nightmare. The blissful marriage she had dreamed of turned into a living horror. The Chudail's words haunted her every moment. The final night. One night, Mira asked the Chudail, "What do you want? How will your soul find peace?" The Chudail replied, "I want your husband to feel the same pain I did. Your husband hasn't betrayed you yet, but I am waiting for that moment. As soon as he does, I will take him with me." Terrified, Mira pleaded with her husband to leave the mansion, but Ravi refused to listen. He said, "I love you, Mira. I will never leave you." But one night, when Ravi didn't come home, Mira became suspicious. She went into the mansion and found Ravi with another woman. Her heart broke. She called out to the Chudail, and the Chudail appeared before her, dressed in her bridal attire, her eyes burning with anger. She said, "See, I told you. Now I will take my revenge." The final doom. The Chudail took control of Ravi. He screamed in terror, but his voice was swallowed by the mansion's walls. Mira watched in horror, unable to move. She saw the Chudail dragging Ravi with her. Ravi looked at Mira, but his eyes were filled with unbearable pain. The Chudail took Ravi to an old room in the mansion where she had ended her life. She said, "You will now live in this mansion, suffering just as I did. You will never escape." Ravi was now trapped in the mansion forever, and Mira spent the rest of her life haunted by that moment. The end of the story. In the end, Mira never found peace in her life. Her marriage, which meant everything to her, became a nightmare. The Chudail's soul had taken her revenge, but Mira's pain never subsided. People say that even today, the spirits of the Chudail and Ravi wander the mansion, and anyone who enters the mansion rarely comes out. This story teaches us how devastating the consequences of broken trust and unkept promises can be. The tale of a Chudail is often the result of unbearable pain, which sometimes stays with a person forever.